morning, guys. I'm like out of breath because I rushed in here this morning. I got up early, which I hope you know is a huge sacrifice for me, because I wanted to record this in my office before my office neighbors got here, because the walls here are paper thin and you can just hear everything that goes on in everybody else's office. And I'm just very self-conscious about them wondering like what the heck I'm doing in here talking to myself. So I got in and it's like not even 8:30 in the morning yet. I haven't even made my tea yet, which is kind of nuts, but I will before I go on the reference desk at 9. So I was all rushy. And the librarian brought in books and things to show you, because that's what I do. I like to make people look at and touch real books. I do that to the students here too. It just keeps me amused. I go into a class and I have like dusty almanacs and things that are relevant to what I'm going to show them, of course, and I pass them around like old-fashioned. They think I'm old-fashioned, but that's okay. I think librarians should be both innovative and old-fashioned in some ways, right? That's a good combination. But at any rate, this morning what I wanted to talk about is ordinary time, kind of a fun faith topic this week. And I was thinking about it in the context of the way that I spend this long stretch of ordinary time that consumes all of or most of the summer and the fall with my kids. But I think that certainly it would apply if you don't have kids. These might be just some things that you would just enjoy yourself. So kind of a fun little faith topic this morning. And so, okay, let's get started with our show and tell. So I am huge over the summer in particular, I think, because it's not a special liturgical season. So in Advent and Lent, I tend to be doing other things, both in terms of my own prayer and spiritual life and with the kids. You have special, devotions that you're doing, but over ordinary time, you can just go back to basics. Kind of a nice time for that. And so with Henry, in particular, he loves the saint stories, and in terms of him right now, because we've had other saint books when he was younger, but he's 9.5 right now, and this is the series that we've been using for the past year or so. It's put out by Pauline Books and Media, Saints for Young Readers for Every Day. So this is the volume for the summer and winter, so fall and winter, and there's 2 volumes, and so these are just great for that age group. So we're on July 21st, St. Bridget of Sweden. And so these are like a decent length, but they're not too long. None of them are longer than 2 pages. And there's not really a lot of illustrations. You'll occasionally get a black and white like you see there, but it doesn't have color or anything. But for that age group, I think it's good. And so every night before he goes to bed, we read a saint story, and I should be better about praying with him, really. So honesty here. But he's so self-conscious, I think, about praying in front of me, and I understand that. And so this is like our something that we both enjoy, that spiritual, and that's what we do before he goes to bed. So, and in the summer, it's just a nice time to focus on the lives of the saints, I think. And so I'll have a link to that in the little show notes that I keep on the blog for each of these video posts. But the other thing that I enjoy a lot for keeping up with saint feast days and different things that you can do is a calendar. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a huge calendar nerd. And my best friend Christina got me this calendar this year. Let me put it in front of my face for a second. So it's put out by Tan Books, and they have a couple of different themes that you can get. So she got me the Life of Our Lord. They also have a Mary and the Saints one, as well as, I believe, an angel one. But you'll see that, so here's July of 2015. You got a lot of feast days there. And so this is like your parish calendar on steroids. So this has every possible saint memorial imaginable listed on here. So things obviously from the liturgical calendar, but also like saints that for whatever reason, sometimes they're not on the official calendar anymore. There's like a traditional calendar that's represented on here. And there's a couple of other calendars, and it explains that all in the back, but I'm not going to take the time. I should have looked at that before. But there's just, and even on Sundays, which are obviously solemnities, and so on your parish calendar, they remove the saints that would normally be memorialized on that day, because in that year, then they will, like, sometimes they, in terms of daily mass, they bump them to the Monday, but it depends on what your priest decides to do. But they're not listed on the calendar, but everybody's listed on here. And so I'm going to put a link in the notes, but I love this calendar. And so the 2016s are already up for pre-order, and I already have my order in. They're coming in at the end of September. So I love having this so that I can look and see who's coming up. Anne, Feast of St. Anne, is actually a Sunday this year. And so she's not listed on our parish calendar at home, but she's on here. It's like, I wanted to do some things leading up to the Feast of St. Anne, which I'm getting to in a second. And so this calendar is a nice way to keep track of everything. And you can see, like, oh, what's coming up, and maybe I want to look into a novena leading up to that feast, or a special devotion that person is known for. And it keeps these types of things in mind if you want to look them up and plan some activities for either yourself or your kids. Love. So the other thing that I decided to do this summer that I'd like to really continue doing is praying a novena for each of my kids leading up to their patronal feast. Oh, I'm not looking at you, sorry. Got all off with the books and everything, got distracted. So both of my kids have their patronal feasts in the summer, which obviously isn't necessarily going to be the case for you, but it's a good time to kind of figure that out and see if you want to start this practice as well. And so for each of them, I've been praying a novena leading up to, for them, leading up to their their name, who they were named for in terms of the saint. I'm really enjoying that. And, so just praying for them and their faith and their future vocation, loving. And one thing that you can use to aid you, I love this book, and I'll have to look this up and make sure that it's still in print, because I got this, I think my mom got this for me when I was pregnant with Henry. But this dictionary of patron saint names, because I really wanted our kids to have saint names, but not everybody does, right? Tiffany right here. But what this dictionary aims to do is take most names, known names, and give you a derivative, in your name that you could then use to locate a patron and use as your patronal feast. So for Tiffany, it suggests that it's derived from Epiphany / Epiphana, which was an ancient female name apparently. So I actually use the Feast of the Epiphany in early January as my feast day. Although I guess there's a Saint Epiphana whose feast is May 12th. But, you could look up, like, say, there's a more modern name that's like Kaylee or something, right? This book would suggest, well, there's, Lee, the end part of that name, there's a saint, Lee, or that's derived from Lee, and then you could use that person. So it's really nice. I know I looked up a common name for my generation, Jennifer, that the book says is derived from Genevieve, and there is a Saint Genevieve, then you could use her feast day. And so for your kids, you could do the same thing and then use that as a way to, do a special thing with them, pray a novena for them. I really like that. So that may not necessarily involve the summer for you, but it's a nice little thing to think about right now. I'm looking at my list. Okay, so real quick. The other thing that I do over the summer, because I'm kind of nuts, is that I think about Advent. I've mentioned this on the blog before, but I love getting my stuff early because I'm just kind of type A, and you can get good deals on Advent stuff over the summer. So I've got my eye on a magnetic wood Advent calendar that I'm really excited about. I have a link in the notes, but it sometimes goes on sale, and I'm kind of waiting for it to go on sale. But that's often when it'll happen, is over the summer before there's the big demand for it. So I've got my eye on that Advent calendar. If you see it go on sale, let me know, because it's kind of expensive. But it's sometimes it goes for $20 off. So I'm like waiting for my big opportunity. But I like to do that. If you need a new Advent wreath, or other Advent paraphernalia, the summer is a good time to get it, because it's usually available in online stores, Catholic and Christian stores, and then you can get it for a good price. So thinking about that, and I get my kids St. Dolls. This one's mine, and you've seen her before, Our Lady Star of the Sea. But each year I usually get them 2 new ones. And so I'm thinking about this year getting them both St. Nicholas, and then Anne asked for Our Lady of Guadalupe, and Henry asked for Maximilian Kolbe. So usually we'll start the process of ordering those because they're handmade, and so it takes time to make them, and the stores that make them get crazy busy when it starts to get into the fall. So the summer is a good time to order them, give them time to make them, and have them long before, like even the Feast of St. Nicholas, if you do that with your kids, which I do in early December. So our saint of the week, to kind of surround all of this mess that I've talked about, summer ordinary time, faith activities with your kids, is St. Joseph. I've just been really in a St. Joseph kind of a place this week. I'll talk more about that next week because it involves a new rosary, and y'all know how I am about new rosaries. It's just, I can't get enough. And patron of families, and I just think that he's a wonderful patron to pray, ask for his intercession for your kids and your family unit, and all of that good stuff. So St. Joseph, please pray for us during this season of summertime, kind of calm before the storm of the fall and everything that comes along with that. So if you have any thoughts on faith activities with kids and how you spend your summer ordinary time, do let me know, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.